Sometimes the most amazing stories are hiding in the most ordinary places. Today, we're not digging into some huge historical event. Instead, we're going to zoom way, way in on a single product page for one single industrial component to uncover the incredible world it helps power.
But first, let me ask you something. What do you think is the brain of a modern factory? It's not a person in an office, not some giant supercomputer in the basement. It's something that lives right there on the assembly line. Just keep that question in the back of your mind as we go.
So, to really get what our little component does, we first have to understand the world it lives in. And it all starts with those factory brains.
And here's the answer. It's called a PLC, or a Programmable Logic Controller. The easiest way to think of it is as a super tough, specialized computer. Its whole purpose in life is to run manufacturing. It's the nerve center that tells a robot arm when to weld, tells a conveyor belt when to move. It is, quite literally, the brain of the whole operation. Okay, so if the PLC is the brain, who makes the critical parts that connect that brain to the rest of the body? Let's meet the company behind our component. The manufacturer is Anzer, which also goes by Western Reserve Controls, and they're based out of Akron, Ohio. These are the folks creating the exact piece of the puzzle we're focused on today. And let me tell you, these guys are serious experts. A quick look at what they do shows they cover everything from printed circuit boards and cable harnesses all the way to super specialized work for the medical and aerospace industries. This isn't just some company slinging parts. They engineer and build the actual backbone for some seriously complex systems. So, we've got the brain, that's the PLC, and we've got the company that builds the essential gear for it. Now, how do we get the brain's commands out to the muscles on the factory floor? And that brings us to the core problem they're solving. It all comes down to a process called signal conditioning. See, the electrical signals coming from a giant stamping press or a tiny little sensor, well, they aren't always in a language that the PLC can understand. Something has to sit in the middle and act as a translator, cleaning up the signals and making sure the brain's instructions are perfectly understood by the body and the other way around. And that is exactly where Anzer's product line, the W1492 series, comes in. It's designed specifically for this job, to be that bridge, to be that translator, and it's built to work with one of the biggest names in the industry, Allen Bradley PLCs. All right, now we're going to zoom in even further. Let's go from the whole product family down to the one specific component that's at the heart of our story today. The W1492-OB-001. Now, to you and me, that might just look like a random string of characters. But to a factory manager or an automation engineer, that part number means everything. It represents a very specific solution to a very specific problem. So let's break this down. Mounting board. Okay, that tells us it's the physical platform where all the connections are made. And 16 DC DIO, what does that mean? Well, it means it can handle 16 channels of direct current, digital input or output. In other words, it's a hub for 16 separate on or off signals, either reading a sensor or flipping a switch. It's a small but mighty communications hub, and it weighs less than a pound. And what's the price for this crucial link in the chain? $271.03. Think about that. It's a tangible price for a component that might be controlling hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars worth of machinery. But the story doesn't end with the specs or the price. In the world of manufacturing, another detail on this product page is maybe the most important one of all. 7. At the time this page was captured, there were exactly 7 of these units in stock. Now, why does that number matter so much? Because when a factory line goes down because one small component fails, every single minute of that downtime can cost thousands of dollars. And that's why this promise right here is so critical. This isn't just good customer service. It's an economic lifeline. Getting a replacement part shipped the very same day can be the difference between a minor hiccup and a totally catastrophic production loss. So what you're really buying for $271 isn't just a circuit board. It's uptime, it's reliability. It's the confidence that if something breaks, the fix is on a truck just hours later. The true product here is continuity. And that brings us full circle. The next time you see a car, open a package, or use, well, pretty much anything, think about the invisible network of components just like the W1492-OB-001. What other tiny, unseen parts are working perfectly right now to keep your world moving?